right, welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. I'm calling from a different line tonight, so I may be having a little difficulty. I'm going to wait for you all to catch up with me. Yeah, I'm learning to relearn to love. Hello? Did you find me yet?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh! All right, thank you. So welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. I don't know how much you heard, but I did my whole spiel. Did you hear me before Tranquility, or this is the first you're hearing me?
This is the first time hearing you, but I did step away for a second.
Okay. So welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. Thank you for deciding to be here. I surprised my manager and came in from a different phone. I did try to let her know, but that didn't work out. So anyway, I am here. We are here. Thank you for coming to GoGi's After Dinner Jam. Thank you for using your free will, which, by the way, is at stake, to be here. We look at these conference calls as different flavors of ice cream, and like Baskin-Robbins, we have several. And guess what? We have almost as many as they do. And yet you chose to be here, so I'm ever so grateful, and I choose you back. We have a jam-packed night for you. It is the end of July. This is the 5th Tuesday in July, so it was a longer month, and we get an extra jam. Yay. And so we're going to move right on into the evening. We have a great evening planned for you, and I know you all can't wait to hear from our attorney a little later this evening. So we have a lot planned, so let's get busy. That song, by the way, is by Scott. So this episode is dedicated to all the TIs who are broke, homeless, and very, very talented. What a talented man from Creed, and yet he's saying that he's broke and homeless. And many people is going around the internet right now saying that they believe he's a TI, which would, well, we won't deal with the honeypot issue, but they're saying that he's a TI. So blessings to him and to any TI that's struggling at that level. I pray for you and your talent that it will make, your gift will make room for you, as the word says. All right, so we're going to look at temperance tonight. I'm not going to stay too long on it because we have a lot of things to do, but we know that we're living in perilous times. Things are happening day by day. Like the news is just like the show, jam-packed with stuff. And for everybody, but especially for targeted individuals or treasured individuals, as people say. But we are imprisoned within a free world. However, we must remain tempered, and we're going to get a chance to relearn to love. Okay, there'll be some people that we have to relearn to love because of some of the things that they did to us, and we're going to have to forget and forgive, and, there's a lot of emotional things we have coming up. But temperance is the word for tonight because balance is the key to life. And I say this because this program likes to toy with folks' emotions. One objective is to create split personalities or bipolarism, to increase narcissism, and to misdiagnose TIs with schizophrenia and psychosis and so many other things. I remember reading about psychosis in class, in some of my classes, and psychosis is a big thing to have a psychotic break. And yet the word is being thrown around so easily on many TIs' documentation, and it is truly, truly a misdiagnosis. So the thing that helps us, this is my gem for tonight, and I hope it will help you in all types of relationships, whether it be love, marriage, child and parent, work, friends, temperance helps in all kinds of relationships. So when you find yourself very, very emotional, whether it's mad, angry, sad, even happy, sometimes it's good not to act. Sometimes it's good not to speak, but just to be still. When you're very, very angry, especially be still, quiet your mouth. If you speak out of anger, you may get to say everything you wanted to say and more. But it could be that one thing that you never wanted to say that you end up saying, and that's what that person hears, and guess what? He or she can't unhear it, and the relationship changes forever. You can't turn back the hands of time. Sometimes we take our relationships for granted, and we just believe that we are forever. That this relationship is forever. It can't be broken. We're good. And it's not always the case. Relationships are delicate, and it's important to take a step back when you're very, very anything. Again, sad, mad, even happy. It's easy to err. It's easy to make mistakes. So value and honor what you have with others. Value and honor yourself and your relationships and the people around you. Take a great, big walk backwards, count to 10. Do whatever you need to do in your particular situation to calm down, to bring you back to your center, and then decide what steps you want to take, what next steps. If you decide then that you want to tell them off and do whatever, that's your decision. But try not to do it when you're feeling overly emotional. All right? That's all I got. That's GoGi's STEM for tonight. We're going to open up and we're going to say the city and state we're from, your name, city, and state, and what emotion do you find yourself having to deal with during this time? Anger, sadness, happiness, overly angry, overly sad, overly happy, or overly mad. Okay? All right. I must have said something twice, but I'll clean it up. All right. Again, welcome to the J.A.M. If you have noise in your background, please mute yourself so we don't have to mute and boot you. And if you do have noise, if you want to say something, say it and then mute yourself. My goodness. And again, thank you for choosing to be here. She's back. All right. Let's open up.
Because what's going on with him?
Welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. Somebody has noise. We're going to find you. Unless you find yourself, please mute yourself.
And not right at this moment, but,
that's
just
just because, like right at the phone. That's like,
yeah, well, I can say whatever I want to say, but, yeah.
We'll wait till that person's finished. Thank you so much. Welcome to the J.A.M. Please announce yourself, city and state you're from, and what emotion are you find yourself dealing with and have to control lately? Anger, sadness, or gladness? Go ahead.
Hello, this is Daniel from Huntsville, Alabama.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey, GoGi. I find myself having to deal with a lot of depression that is forced from the program, but as soon as they stop, it is overly joyed because I get to think about how much success we're having with each other and finding relationships with lifelong people, and we're going to get justice. So I just thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you so much for that, Daniel. Wow, I love that you are able to identify that when the program is making you feel a certain way, then when it lifts, you can go right back to where you are. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. All right.
Hi, GoGi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, it's Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
How you doing? Well,
I'm as
right
well
now
as
I'm happy because my mom made it to 85.
Woo-hoo! Happy birthday, my babe.
And not everybody makes it through this.
Okay, because you got to say, Keep it
Wait,
quiet.
hold on. Somebody needs to mute, please.
Need to be.
A male needs to mute. Go ahead, Michelle. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. And I'm just happy that we've come this far.
Yeah.
Because when this first started, I had a lot of anger. The more I learned about this and what we're going through, it requires a lot of our meditation and a lot of going within yourself. And if you haven't done some spiritual work on yourself, with this stuff, you definitely will. You're forced to go within yourself and find out who you are and what's important to you. I had a lot of anger, but forcing myself to be functional, even through all of this stuff, and talking to people. And I'm happy also that I'm talking to people, and nowhere does crazy come in or anything like that. We're in 2025 coming up. I'm happy that we're in the future, because the people that didn't have AI presented and, it's normal, and a hotel being built in outer space and flying cars and all of that going on, and people know about radio frequencies, and people understand we're like in a world where, we go into the bathroom, we put our hands under the faucet, and the sensor is picking up our biology. So people understand technology more now, and no one thinks anybody is crazy.
Okay, I'm not doing that. I don't know who's doing that.
I don't know. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel better because the people, like when I first got on the calls, and the people that have been on this for 20 years or 30 years, they didn't have any recourse. They didn't have any frame of reference for the public to relate to. But we do. We have that frame of reference. People understand remote technology, and they understand that they feel that they would experiment, before implementing certain modes of technology. So I'm happy about that.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I have to agree with you. A while ago, we were talking about nobody believing us, but the way things are moving and the things that are happening in the world and the way things are moving with technologically, they're beginning to believe and understand, and so we needed this to happen so that this can be exposed without everybody just passing out. So I believe that is why it's taking so long, and I'm certainly looking forward to that time. But thank you for that. Thank you that you were able to change your anger and make it more useful through meditation and your spiritual life. And happy birthday to your mom. 85 is a beautiful thing, so God bless her. And thank you for your
time.
All right.
Thank you. Love you, Gaji.
Love you too. Thank you. All right, everybody. Next caller, please.
My name is Sandra. I'm calling from Chicago.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi. I feel sad because I'm having my family is not believing anything I say. I give them send them information, and they're just still not believing. And so I feel sad about it, but I'm hanging in there. trying to get in some groups and stuff.
Yes. Stay a part of the community. We are your family. We absolutely believe you because we understand, and that's what it's about. So thank God you found us. There are still some people out there who don't have their family and don't have anybody. So, Sandra, I'm happy that you found the TI community. Welcome. And one day, maybe one of your family members will believe you and help to turn the rest of them around. And if they don't believe it before it's exposed, then they will certainly believe it when it is. All right, so thank you and welcome, Sandra.
All right, thank you.
Next caller, please.
Hi, GoGi's. This is Chris from Idaho. How are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm as well as can be expected. How are you? Hey.
Good. I have to say also that, excuse me, in the beginning, I was so scared and angry and baffled by what was even happening to me. And so the process has brought me through this journey. It has me in a state sometimes of disbelief because I just see what has happened to our country, and that they're using these young kids, 3-4 years old on up, and they're teaching them these horrible things and how to be evil people, and it saddens me that this is where our country is, and also that you cannot, I used to be such a trusting person, and it's really hard for me to trust. I can't trust anybody, not anybody, and I feel like a part of me has been lost, because I think to get through life you have to have trustworthy, have the trusting feelings and to have relationships, and so it's carried me into that part. But on the flip side to now, I feel sorry sometimes for the people that are in this program on the other side as far as gang stalkers, because they have no idea. They have no idea what the whole program is about. And so I almost feel sorry for people, but it also has turned me into faith, and it has turned me humbled, and it's turned me into be a more grateful person. And also I have found that in order to change my whole attitude, which is I'm a much happier person now, and because of internal healing also, I've had to work within myself to be able to be strong enough to be able to handle the different situations that are coming at me. And I'm happy for that. And I just pray to God, when it all comes out, that people will really understand what we've all gone through. And it's definitely a journey and a book to write for sure. So right now I'm very humbled and I'm happy.
Hi, thank you so much for that, Chris. Thank you. Yes, Chris, thank you so much for that. I love that you shared about your transformation, how you started out. And it is sad to be so distrustful, Sometimes I call it paranoid or whatever, but we do have to be careful. We have to use wisdom. So it's also wise. And it is a sad thing that we have to function this way, but it's a wise thing to do because of what we're dealing with. And so that you ended up being humble and happy is a wonderful thing. The gang stalkers, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of reckoning that they will have to deal with. Number one, they will have to become aware of just what they've been a part of, because a lot of the times they are lied to and have been betrayed as well. So it should be a very interesting time, and hopefully we on this end, since we're going to be, it's going to be exposed, we're going to be vindicated and compensated, we can sit back and watch and help the transition. So thank you for that. I appreciate your words. All right, next caller, please.
God bless you, God G.
God bless you. How are you? Hi, Twinny. How are you?
Good. Well, I will tell you, as spiritual as we all can be, reality is that we're in the flesh as well. And, the Bible talks about, that's why the Bible talks about keeping this old flesh under the subjection to the Spirit of God. But I will tell you, Gaji, when I started experiencing this program, I tell you, I was angry, and I will tell you, I just wanted to kick the devil right out of these perpetrators. And, and I'm sure
well, I'm glad you did it, because we go ahead. We wouldn't have seen, I was just saying, I'm glad you didn't, because we wouldn't see you kicking the devil. We would see you kicking them, So that would have been trouble.
Right. And,
I'll get dinner ready now.
There's nothing wrong with
I can listen. This isn't the part I really...
I'm sorry, Sonia, that somebody is intentionally disrupting you, but we'll find them. You can continue. Thank you. And please mute yourself so we don't have to mute you. Oh, God. Mute and mute you. Oh, Jesus. Go ahead, Sonia.
All right. And, there's nothing wrong with being angry. That's called righteous anger. But it's how we use this anger, right? It's what we do with it and how we use it. And, at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we have self-control, one of the fruits of the Spirit, right? Because anger, the Bible talks how anger can also be destructive, right? And so we have to have a control over it. But I was angry, Godzy, with righteous anger. I was. And, but then, I realize, you have to look past the natural and realize that we're dealing, we're in the spiritual warfare, and, the Bible tells us that, the thief, that's what the Bible calls him, the enemy, Satan, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So he's just doing his job. And I've learned, Sister Gaji, if the enemy can't come in one way, he sure will try to get through another way. And that's why we always got to give him no place, and we constantly have to keep that door shut on him. But I just thank the Lord that even though I was angry with the righteous anger, the one verse that has encouraged me a lot during all of this, where I believe it's in Psalms 37:1, where it says, "Fret not yourself of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity." Why? Because for they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. So, in other words, they're not going to be around, So I realize that no matter what these perpetrators are doing, Gaji, we have to remind ourselves who is in control, who is on the throne. And at the end of the day, God's going to deal with them. God's word does not lie or come back void. If God said it, believe it, run with it, and that settles it, so to speak, right? We have to take God at his word more than ever. And so I trust God enough in his word that in his time and His way. We're going to come out of this situation, right? But in God's time and His way, He will deal with these evildoers. We just got to make sure that our hearts stay clean and pure before Him, that our hearts stay right before Him. Amen. So with that being said, Sister Gaji, God bless you. I am still waiting on that that fund for the due bill that's owed to me. Amen. And so keep on laughing because you're going to be seeing me in Texas soon.
All right, come on down.
But God bless you, Sister Gaji. I love you. I love the community. And I want everyone to know to be encouraged because victory is on the way. Amen. God bless everyone.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Sister Simon. Sister Simon's calls Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. She has 3 calls at 9, and they're all listed on TI events. Look to the problem solver. All right. So thank you for that, Twinnie. I appreciate you. Love you back. And next call. Anybody else want to state your name, city and state you're from, and the emotion that you find yourself dealing with mostly during this program?
I'm Derek.
Hi, Derek.
Yeah, I'm from Ellisville, Mississippi.
Hey.
And I guess the emotion I could say I'm dealing with the most today has been hopelessness.
Okay. Well, I hope that this call will bring about some hope for you, and that you are able to get cheered up and to see some joy and love and camaraderie just from being here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be on the J.A.M, Derek.
I appreciate that. Thank you for what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Or we getting ready to close it down?
Robert Baird in New Orleans, and I'm just upset that this is happening, and it's been happening for 14 years, and I'm ready for it to end.
Yeah. I'm with you, Robert. Thank you for sharing, and I am certainly with you. It's past the time for this to end. Somebody, a male in the background, we hear you on the phone. Please mute yourself. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Robert. And again, I agree with you. It's past the time, but everything has its season. We don't always know the reason, but if we just hold on, we'll make it through. If we just hold on, let's do this one step at a time, and let's make it through together, and we'll be happier because of it. Our latter days are going to be better than our former. Our best days are ahead of us, so let's continue to remember that. Continue to remember that, Derek. All right. Thank you, Robert. Anybody else before we close it down, guys?
Hi, Gaji, Constance, Arizona. I'm just like the sad feeling. Not sad because of what I'm going through, just sad because of what they're going to go through. And how
said a mouthful right there.
They're just, like God said, forgive them for they know not what they are doing. Yes, I don't feel sad for myself. I'm highly favored. That's all.
All right. That's beautiful. Thank you for that. All right, guys.
Reggie?
Okay, can we set it down? Yes, hi.
Reggie, I'd just like to say, that I get angry too, but I think that this is threshing me and teaching me gratitude for things that I used to take for granted. So it's putting things into perspective. I think a lot of us were bowling along before. just taking a lot of things for granted. And the other thing, I think Chris touched me a lot with what she said about how she can't trust. And I've been betrayed so many times. But it's teaching me, and she used that word, faith. So instead of just blind trust, faith, and it's honing discernment. And that's a gift in itself too. So I just wanted to add that. And by the way, it's my birthday today too. And I'm very happy to share it with all of you. Yeah, I'm having a very quiet time at home as usual, but it's so good to share it with all of you. It's a blessing. So that's my little bit, Chad. Yeah.
Okay. Can we all say happy birthday
Helen?
to Helen? Happy birthday, Helen!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Helen!
We love you, Helen. You're the best.
Happy birthday, Helen. Happy birthday, Helen.
Happy birthday! Thank you for sharing it with us, Helen. We are so grateful.
Everyone. I think that's really important.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Now,
All right. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your sentiments. And I took, usually this is a really quick part of the show, but I let us take our time because our feelings, as I was saying before, we don't want to take them for granted. They are important, and they have to be cultivated, and so I wanted us to take time and do that. So thank you guys for sharing from your heart how you felt and how you're feeling now. And it was interesting to see that it was, for many, a transformation. Start out feeling one way, and then, you grow through this. And I've heard it often said, and we're going to close down now. So we're going to close down. So oftentimes I've heard people say, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And I never liked that. But it is proven to be true, right? This is making us stronger, and we're gaining experiences and emotions and feelings and relationships that we probably would have never had without this program. So very interesting time. I can't wait till we get on the other end and we really look back, and then we can laugh at some of this stuff as opposed to feeling the way we do. Okay. All right, so let's go. We have some news, and we have about 7 items of news. So the first one is about, now I'm sure you've seen it. If you're a TI, you've seen those LED lights, whether it be headlights or lights in the home. I want to thank MAP Newscaster for this. And so this is about the LED lights. Do they really affect us and so forth? So let me find my little article here. I got so much into what you're all saying, I didn't do that. Usually I would have it ready, but I'll be ready in a sec. Excuse me. But these are the lights that sometimes it's one light on, one light off, and they drive behind us, they drive next to us, so they drive, facing us. But we see these lights, and I just found it interesting, this article telling us the impact. So just give me a second. So sorry, guys. The glare, this is from the Daily Mail. It says the glare of car headlights could be a risk for heart conditions. All right, so they already mess with our heart. As ever more vehicles use dazzling LED beams. This article is from April of 2024, and says bright headlights are a factor in an average of 280 collisions every year. Okay, the move follows a campaign by the RAC and the anti-dazzle group Light Aware. In a recent RAC poll of 2,000 drivers, 85% said headlight glare is getting worse. Official figures show bright headlights were a contributory factor in an average of 280 collisions on UK roads every year since 2013. The government is tackling bright headlamps, which could help reduce our risk of conditions such as cardiovascular disease and headaches, particularly in middle-aged or older drivers. Because LEDs are small and send out tight-edged beams compared with loosely focused traditional halogen bulb headlamps, they create a harsher contrast with the darkness around them, making the light seem brighter, according to the 2005 report. Moreover, modern LED headlights are around twice as bright, 6,000 lumens compared with around 3,000 for halogens. Dr. John Lincoln, a retired immunologist of Light Aware, told Good Health, this LED glare can cause stress that can damage our cardiovascular system, according to research by the Karolinska Institute in Sweden. They found that glaring headlights could trigger worrying changes even in young, healthy people. In one study involving 19 drivers under 40 who were subjected to 5 sudden bursts of strong headlight glare, one volunteer showed a potentially dangerous rise in blood pressure, while another temporarily developed ventricular, extrasystoly, a heartbeat abnormality associated with heart attacks. Okay? I'm sorry, I know I'm saying that wrong. It's EXTRA, extra, SYSTOLE. Okay? Look at that. Older and less healthy drivers may fare worse. The 1998 report found that drivers in their mid-40s and over who had symptoms of heart disease, such as high blood pressure, were also the most sensitive to sudden headlight glare and the most likely to show cardiovascular reactions, possibly because the bright lights heighten their fight or flight response. Their fight or flight response. Overbright headlamps may trigger migraines too, Dr. Lincoln warns. LED headlamps cause visual stress due to the contrast brightness. This can spark attacks in people who suffer light-induced migraines, making it difficult to drive safely. Such pain is a natural response to sudden dazzle, according to Peter Heilig, a professor of ophthalmology at the University of Vienna. Glare sends a warning signal to the brain that says stop. It's comparable to the pain signal you get when you suddenly overstrain a joint. Okay. Dr. Lincoln explains that LED headlamps can be particularly painful because, unlike other lighting, the intensity drops more slowly, making these lights blinding over longer distances. Glare pain is also intensified by the LED wavelength. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let me read this part. It says, over the age of 60, our eyes' ability to recover from glare at night starts to fail significantly as the light-sensitive rod cells, which help with good vision in low light, weaken. Okay. So I'm gonna jump to the end. Meanwhile, campaigners suggest drivers looking different directly at approaching vehicles at night. Instead, look about 20 degrees to the right. Okay, so this is the solution. Look about 20 degrees to the right toward the white line on the right side of the road. Then use peripheral vision to see ahead for those moments. Or buy night driving glasses which have a coating that filters out the blue light. And see your ophthalmologist regularly, says Denise Boom. Things such as macular degeneration can make the problem of headlight glare a lot worse. Prescription glasses can make a big difference. All right, so look about 20 degrees to the right toward the white line on the right side of the road, and then use your peripheral vision. So let's try not to look directly at those lights. All right. Thank you, Matt Newscaster, for that. And we have a second article. This one has two parts to it, a video and an article. And this is about the Gwynn Towers. I'm not sure if you've heard of Gwynn Towers, and I would like to study a little bit about how they're using this program, but they're called Gwynn Towers, which is Ground Wave Emergency Network. And they've been built since the Cold War. They are not supposed to be used, and they haven't been, as far as we know, but it seems that it's a topic that's coming up lately. So I'm going to ask Lady T if you'll play the little clip about it, and then Major P, if you just share with us the locations of the states where these Gwynn Towers are. Okay, ladies.
To a military system, and they're using it against American citizens.
A microwave that can home in on individuals, criminals hacking into an existing system. June Sarpong hopes to pull the clues together with the help of her Black Ops contact, the man in the white van.
Process? Process. Got two letters for you. T.I.
Targeted individual.
I've met people, Corsa. Are they crazy?
No.
Someone wants them to think they're crazy.
How very astute.
How are they doing this, Corsa? Who's behind it?
That's a big question. David Corson.
Oh, I can't hear. Is it me?
I can't hear it either.
Okay. I think she dropped as well. Okay. So, Major P, can you read the locations of the Gwynn Towers? So the Gwynn Towers are different from the cell towers, but they look like a massive cell tower, and next to it, it looks like a triangular structure. And they have been there. They are not supposed to be used, and it seems that they are an issue. And so we're going to look at what kind of issue. I'll keep following this thread about Gwynn Towers. But Major P, are you there? Can you tell us the locations, the states that they're in?
Sure. Some of the initial towers had prompted groups of citizens in Massachusetts, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and California to organize to fight construction of Gwynn Towers in their areas. The groups believed that the presence of a Gwynn node would increase the community's strategic worth in the eyes of the Soviet Union and thus invite attack. Responding to these groups, the Air Force repeatedly downplayed the importance of the towers, stating they were not worth that kind of attention by the Soviet Union. Amid controversy and world geopolitical changes, Gwynn's value diminished greatly in the post-Cold War environment. In addition to its existence being rendered moot by the sustained effectiveness of predecessors and follow-on systems, survival law frequency communication system, and minimum essential emergency communication network, respectively. As early as 1990, legislative measures were enacted to terminate the program. In 1994, new construction of wind towers were banned after a defense appropriations bill eliminated the need funding for the towers for 1 year. A few months later, the United States Air Force announced that they would terminate the construction contract to build the remaining 25 towers, except for the money used to dismantle the system.
Okay. Do you have a list of the states where they are?
Massachusetts, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and California.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. And we're going to continue to see where they're being used or if they're being used. Thank you, to if they're being weaponized against us as well. All right. I wanted to mention, thank you, Major P. I wanted to mention this particular website, which I want to thank multi-generational target Regina for, as she calls herself, for sharing it with me. It's GAO.gov, GAO.gov. And it has, when I looked on there, it just reminded me that they're doing this in plain sight, meaning all the components of this program are all over the website. They're all over the web. It's being talked about in social media. We make primetime news now here and there. Even, for example, with Havana Syndrome, by the way, tomorrow is a big hearing, and they're going to talk about Havana Syndrome. We have a feeling that they may begin to open it up to civilians, so we're going to watch for that, and we're going to share those results next week. But GAO.gov is a website, and they talk about direct energy weapons. They talk about components of the program. Please check it out, and we'll be sharing from there as we move along. Okay, and it's on me again. And I'm going to jump to, is Lady T available? Are you ready with MK Ultra?
I am pulling it up now.
Okay. All right. So I know you fell off for for the other thing.
I didn't even know it either until I ended the video.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead with this. This is AI. This is about AI and the Chevron rule. As we remember that we announced that the Chevron rule is over, right? And so this is in relationship how AI is affected. So AI rules set for extra scrutiny post-Chevron. Federal agencies trying to rein in artificial intelligence may be more vulnerable to legal challenges after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the Chevron doctrine, upending federal rulemaking. Prior to the Loper-Bright ruling, the Biden administration had been relying on broad existing statutes to address AI-driven impersonation, discrimination, and safety threats. Without Chevron deference, under which courts deferred to reasonable agency interpretations of vague law, companies may be more emboldened to sue over regulations that they believe hinder the booming AI industry. And fears of litigation will likely lead agencies to be more strategic in how they approach crafting AI regulations. So the AFT, the Federal Trade Commission, for example, could face legal scrutiny over future AI regulations under the FTC Act, a statute passed 110 years ago that has empowered the agency to conduct investigations, promote market competition, and protect consumers against unfair business practices. The Biden-era FTC, under Chair Lina Khan, has endured criticisms that it has stretched the bounds of its authority over tech issues. Okay, so where can you read about this? Okay. I'll read the end. Okay. Agencies can rely on memos, other precedents to wield influence. Federal agencies try to rein in the risk of artificial intelligence may be vulnerable to court challenges after a Supreme Court decision stripped the executive branch of some of its rulemaking power. Last month saw the fall of Chevron, the decades-old doctrine under which courts defer to reasonable agencies to the interpretation of vague laws. Okay, so basically, where there was where something was gray or vague, the judges were able to yield to the agencies. So the agencies love that they can explain, because they can explain things away, they can justify their position and so forth. And now that is not there. They're going to go by the letter of the law. So they need to clean up that those vague gray lines, those blurred lines. Okay, as Robin Thicke would say, those blurred lines need to be cleared up. Okay, so that's what the Chevron law, the ruling, the Chevron deference being taken away will insist on. And AI is going to be a bit more vulnerable. Okay? All right. Ready for you, Lady T. This is a video with Jesse Waters, and he's dealing with MK Ultra, although MK Ultra, we know, was supposed to end decades ago, is still around. And what is interesting to me is they're just talking about deprogramming the people who were impacted by MK Ultra, whoever's left. Okay? All right, Lady T.
Government's biggest nightmare come true. American prisoners of war were coming home converted by communist brainwashers. The story kicked the CIA into high gear. Just weeks into his job as CIA director, Alan Dulles approved one of the biggest mind control experiments known to man. Codename MK Ultra. The goal was to manipulate the minds through electroshock therapy, hypnosis, even psychedelic drugs like LSD. And they picked their guinea pigs for military bases, college campuses, hospitals, prisons. Former crime boss Whitey Bulger described his experience as, quote, hallucinating, hours of paranoia and feeling violent, guys turning to skeletons in front of me. I saw a camera change into the head of a dog. I felt like I was going insane. These experiments lasted for 2 decades, with hundreds of victims. Now, Democrats want to make mind control great again. Just the other day, Hillary Clinton.
Okay. So they are currently, from my understanding, beginning to deprogram the victims of MK Ultra. And that was and Jesse Waters has is reporting on it. So we'll have the link available to you. Okay. Now this letter, Dr. Black, you're up next. Dr. Millicent Black, thank you so much for this letter. And this letter, Dr. Black received this letter and has also offered a generic copy for all of us PIs to have in our dossier so we can put it with our evidence and so forth. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more and read the letter, and you can decide if you would like a copy or have it for you. And remember that we always reach out to legislators, and we know about Jim Guest, who was the one who stood up for James Walbert before James Walbert won his case. And this letter, to me, is just as powerful. So, Dr. Millicent Black, please.
Hi, Gandhi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, as can be expected. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. This letter was written in 2005 by Lynn Segala, who was is the former vice president of the United States Psychotronics Association. And Lynn explained to me that psycho means of the mind and tronics mean electronics. so that means it's using electronics on the mind. She wrote this letter as a whistleblower on behalf of victims, and she was a scientist for Lockheed Martin and also helped to develop some of this technology. She and another group of scientists went to the United Nations weapons section and to ask them if they would, write a bill to ban space-based weapons as weapons of mass destruction. And she also went to Dennis Kucinich, and she told me out of her own mouth that she helped him to write H.R. 2977, which was called the Space Preservation Act, and though it did not pass, it still bears a significant importance in our case and in our lives, because it validates that Congress was alerted in 2001 that weapons of mass destruction were about to be dispersed on the open public, and the description gave mind control as one of the possible outcomes, and even death from space. So the letter reads, it was dated June the 20th, 2005, and it's actually to the court. As former Vice President of the United States Psychotronics Association, I assure the Congress that the illegal testing, development, and use of psychotronic, microwave, laser, and other forms of electromagnetic directed energy weaponry is a matter of grave concern to both the U.S. and international communities. These weapons are all potentially lethal, although sublethal injuries may also be inflicted as with the use of any other lethal weapons, such as a gun, knife, or chemical poison. Assault and battery and or torture murder with any form of directed energy weapon is assault and battery and or torture murder with a lethal weapon. Despite claims to the contrary by criminal elements in our own government, there is no such thing as a non-lethal weapon, even those currently in vogue for slow kill, torture, interrogation by war criminals worldwide. In 2001, H.R. 2977, the Space Preservation Act, was introduced into Congress to ban all directed energy weapons. Its passage has thus far been blocked. In 2002, the United Nations Institute for Disarmament Research formally listed a new category of weapons of mass destruction, psychotronic, mind control, and other electromagnetic resonance weapons, in their 2002 Media Guide to Disarmament. In 2003, the state of Michigan passed into law House Bill 4513 and 4514, banning the use of all forms of electromagnetic weapons against human beings in the state of Michigan. In 1999, the European Union Parliament passed Resolution AA 0005/1999, Section 27, which calls for an international convention introducing a global ban on all developments and deployments of weapons which might enable any forms of manipulation of human beings. In parentheses, she wrote psychotronic weapons. Any person's claim of being assaulted with some form of directed energy weapon is to be taken very seriously. If the criminal assailants are found to be law enforcement personnel or government employees, then the crime is even more serious offense with grave political implications. If the crime is found to be racially or religiously motivated torture assault, then the bias crime laws also apply. I assure you that similar cases of assault, torture, murder with these weapons are being addressed all over the world. Please give this matter your closest attention. The international human rights community is deeply interested in the outcome and concerned that justice be served in all cases of directed energy weapons assault. Attached to this letter is a copy of my resume and relevant pages from H.R. 2977, which lists the forms of electromagnetic directed energy weaponry currently in use. Sincerely, Lynn A. Segala, former Vice President, United States Psychotronics Association.
That is Oh, that is so valuable. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Black. Thank you for reading so eloquently as well. And
I was just going to add, this particular letter is inside the front cover of my Social Security disability folder. When I went back in after I had gotten approved, they were just kind of encouraging me to look at my folder. And when I opened the folder up, her letter was inside the front cover.
Beautiful. Wow. I love that. And that is because it makes it very clear and evident. She says that if someone says that they're being hurt by direct energy weapons, you should take them seriously, or by psychotronic weapons, which we know are the ones that are hurting us. So what a valuable piece, what a valuable article. And I'm thinking of a person who called earlier, Sandra, whose family would not believe her. And Sandra, this would be a good article for you to have for your family members. And although it goes back in time, it still stands today. So thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Black, and thank you for making it available to all TIs. Guys, we're going to make sure that if you want a copy, that you'll be able to have a copy. I'm going to put it with either post-jam notes. I'm going to put a link or a copy on my YouTube, GoGi's After Dinner Jam, and on TI events in the toolkit. So look for it, grab your copy, put it in your folder, and whatever you're working on and trying to do, hopefully it will help you and be as successful, help you to be as successful as it was for Dr. Black. Thank you, Dr. Millicent. Millicent, you also have an event coming up tomorrow night. Can you share about that before we move on?
Tomorrow night is our regular 5th Wednesday night community-wide prayer for justice call. It starts at 8:30. We're starting a little earlier, and we'll be on our Zoom call, and that's the Zoom call of Refuge from the Storm Church. You can find the call-in information on TI events or on our church website, refugefromthestormchurch.org. Also, tomorrow night we will include a small memorial service for Dr. Robert Junkin. So we encourage all of you to come and join us. I believe that our concerted and unified time in prayer to God has made and is making a great difference in the TI community and in these and in the world.
All right. I agree with you. I'll be there. Thank you so much, Dr. Black. Thank you. Okay, and I have another article, and usually, guys, this is the last one, and usually I only read current news, but this one is from 2016, but it's still very impactful, and I'm going to bring it up to date. And this is a New York Times reporter found dead after exposing CIA's alleged mind control program. Her name is Sarah Kershaw. A former New York Times reporter has been found murdered in the Dominican Republic following her exposure of MKUltra. So I guess our theme tonight is MKUltra, huh? Sarah Kershaw was found asphyxiated due to strangulation on Monday at her apartment in Sosua, S-O-S-U-A. And Project MKUltra, often referred to as the CIA's mind control program, was the code name given to an illegal program of experiments on human subjects designed and undertaken by the CIA. Ms. Kershaw published an article with the New York Times exploring this subject in 2008. With her article is named "Sharing Their Demons on the Web." And she's right. She writes, "For people who regularly visit and write on message boards on the mind control sites, the idea that others would describe the sites as promoting delusional and psychotic thinking is simply evidence of a cover-up of the truth." Okay? So in her article, Ms. Kershaw wrote that people who felt they were being targeted had found the support of Missouri Representative Jim Guest, who told the Times, "I've had enough calls, some from credible people, professors being targeted by non-lethal weapons. They become psychologically affected by it have trouble sleeping at night. When Ms. And that was his comment. So when Ms. Kershaw wrote her article, psychotronic warfare was not legal against United States citizens, but that all changed with the National Defense Authorization Act in 2013. In response to the legalization of psychotronic warfare, a Brew report published an article. Okay, so listen. So when she wrote her article, it was not legal against the United States, but it all changed with the NDAA in 2013. So there's an NDAA current, and we want to find out, and we want to look at that carefully, find out what is legal versus illegal with psychotronic warfare right now. So this article, this report, it says psychotronic weapons are those that act to take away a part of the information which is stored in a man's brain. It is sent to a computer, which reworks it to the level needed for those who need to control the man. And the modified information is then reinserted into the brain. These weapons are used against the mind to, mine is cut off for hallucinations, though. All right, so if you'd like to know more about this article, it is then I will have a link to it. It's by HQANON, and it was written April 15, 2016. And I also have the something about the NDAA process. So I'm going to share that, have that available to you as well. And this is a current one from February 1st, 2024. And if we want to look at, I'll save this for next week for the sake of time. We want to look at this carefully. This is from crsreports.congress.gov, and it's only 3 pages about the NDAA process for 2024. I really do want to study that. So we'll look at that next week. And right now, what's up next? Let's take a quick commercial break. And then continue, because we have a very important guest coming up. Okay, guys, commercial break.
Are you feeling like something strange is happening in your life? You tell others, but nobody believes you? Well, get ready to uncover the truth with GoGi Justice's groundbreaking book, GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual. GoGi Justice, an everyday person just like you, has written a book that exposes the covert illegal activities happening right under our noses. With a writing style that's raw, honest, and relatable, GoGi takes you on a journey through the dark world of targeted individuals. You'll ask yourself if you are experiencing these signs. Learn about infiltration, gang stalking, privacy violations, and even hacked home appliances. GoGi's book is a beacon of hope, providing encouragement, tips, and resources for those who find themselves trapped in this nightmare. It's time to fight back and regain control of your life. So if you're tired of feeling isolated, unheard, and targeted, grab a copy of GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual. Available now on Amazon.com and the Targeted Justice Etsy shop. Don't let them silence you any longer. Take the first step towards understanding, empowerment, and freedom. Get your copy today and join the movement. GoGi Justice's book, A Voice for the Targeted Individuals.
All right. Thank you. Grab your copy of the book. It's going to be valuable. It's going to be very valuable one day. All right, so we're going to move this quickly. I have Constance with a TI tip. Constance, if we could move it along as quickly, but we don't want to devalue what you prepared, because I know the TIs love solutions. So, Constance, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your tip. Let's get it. Is Constance there? Constance, my darling, are you here? Okay. If not, we're going to move on to Sir Dan. Sir Dan, we're still reading about the whistleblower Terry Albury. If you will read part 3 for us, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Albury's sentencing is scheduled for Thursday. The government wants him in prison for 52 months. Albury's attorney says that his was an act of conscience and have asked the judge for no time. Albury, his attorneys say, was driven to his actions by the racism he witnessed throughout his career at the FBI, both within the agency and in the ways in which the Bureau interacted with the communities it policed. Particularly, the Somali American community Albury was tasked with surveilling in Minneapolis. That day in 2016, Albury and his colleagues left Muhammad's home without entering or giving him their full names or business cards. They later showed up at his workplace, and Muhammad ultimately turned to Minnesota's chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations for legal representation. According to a sentencing memo filed by Albury's attorneys, this was an everyday encounter for Mr. Albury. He comported himself in this setting as a model FBI agent, but the conflict and depression generated by these routine but soul-destroying events took its toll. Last April, at the time of Albury's plea, I reached out to members of the Minneapolis Somali American community, including Muhammad, who had then changed his name to Burhan Israfel Isaac at the time. Neither he nor I knew that Albury was one of the agents who had paid him an unannounced visit 2 years earlier. I think he did a great service to the citizens of this country, and especially to the people who are vulnerable to harassment from the FBI. Muhammad told me then. More power to him. People are definitely grateful. Today, Muhammad is less forgiving and says he's adopted a more radical understanding. I do think what he did as a matter of public record is great. I think it really shed light for people, he said. But the FBI, in and of itself, is too problematic. Anyone who involves themselves with it and who naively thinks that they can do good work for them, do community work, is misled and misguided. In court filings, his lawyers described Albury as a consummate professional, a devoted husband and father of 2 small children with an impeccable record and little time left to a comfortable retirement. Why would someone with such a stellar career, a history of probity, young children, and just 3 years from a pension jeopardize all he had? They wrote in a sentencing memo. The answer lies in the FBI's own checkered history with race. His objective in disclosure was to alert the U.S. public to practices and procedures that he believed represented both a systemic departure from the FBI's proper mission in counterterrorism and abuses the enormous investigative authority the FBI has been granted since 9/11, the lawyers argued. In an online fundraiser set up to help cover his legal fees, Friends of an Albury wrote that at the FBI, he soon found himself immersed in an institutional culture that, in his view, demeaned, demonized, harassed, and intimidated the very people he was sworn to protect and serve. Worse yet, they added, Terry was required to implement FBI investigative directives that sanctioned the use of race and religion as basis for targeting wide swaths of communities throughout Minnesota and other locations in which he served. The government, for its part, has argued that Albury was a criminal who, over an 18-month period, stole information from more than 70 documents, including about 50 classified ones, taking photographs and copying and pasting them in order to avoid detection. The FBI claims, offering no specifics, that his actions could harm national security. This case is not about race, nor is it about blowing any whistles, prosecutors wrote in the sentencing memo. What it is about is the unlawful transmission and retention of classified national defense information by someone who fully understood how wrong his conduct was. Albury's attorneys declined to make him available for an interview. And that's all we got for this week. Next week we'll talk about a passion for justice, his background.
All right. Thank you so much. It's interesting, Sir Dan, how you could take a whistleblower and make him look like a criminal.
Yes.
I believe it's DOJ. Yeah, I think Department of Justice has, or it's DOJ or DOD that has incentives for whistleblowers right now. They put it out in April, and hopefully it's legitimate. But it's a real dangerous thing. As we know and have been hearing from Steve Friends and others, that whistleblowers, need protection because they are still criminalized and fired and isolated and so forth. But they're supposed to be vehicles within the system. If something's going wrong, that you should be able to say, I don't want to, say something, be able to speak up, and there should be an avenue for you. Yeah. So thank you for reading about him and
my pleasure.
And
thank
what
you.
he went through. All right, thank you for that. So well done. All right, and Constance is here. Constance, can you press *6 so we can hear your tip, and then we're going to get ready for our special guest of tonight. If you press *6, we're going to hear. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Some stuff I've been thinking about this week concerning microwave burns. I remember before I knew I was targeted, I used to be in the sun, and I would get a skin burn. I used Noxzema. So this week, when I got affected with that, I used some Noxzema. It doesn't take the pain. It takes the pain away. It's a temporary fix. Also, something else I'm doing right now with lemons and grapefruit. They're not only good to eat, but they're good for your skin. So sometimes when you're a little tensed up or you got a little rash going on, excuse me, take a grapefruit half and cut it down into 4 and just rub it on your skin. If you are being like where your face is getting kind of numb from some of the chemicals, it's good to run a lime, take half a lime, and just rub it on your face. It takes that away. Just all temporary fixes. Just helping us get through it. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Constance. Love those tips. And it's those things that we used to use back in the day, Noxzema, Vaseline, and then simple things we have around the house, limes, grapefruit, that could be so helpful to us as TIs. So thank you for those tips, All right. I want to remind everybody, if you're in the Houston area, WAVE is having an event that's with Onenye, and check out TI events for that. Okay, guys, so let's get ready. Let's take a commercial break. The next voice you hear will be me interviewing attorney Anna Toledo. Get ready. All right, commercial break first.
Attention, all targeted individuals and TI state contacts. Are you ready to build the supportive community you deserve? Presenting the must-have resource, TI Meetup Mastery, a complete guide by Tranquility, founder of TIEvents.org. This step-by-step book shows you how to plan and host empowering TI meetups from the ground up. You'll get proven checklists, templates, and a resource directory to make organizing a breeze, plus expert advice on navigating legal and safety issues. Whether you're a seasoned organizer or just starting out, TI Meetup Mastery is the ultimate playbook for building a thriving TI community. Get your copy now on Amazon.com. Your tribe is waiting.
All right. Get your copy of the book. We have 2 books now. Make sure you pick them up and put them in your library, okay? And there's going to be many more, because I heard Chris say that this will make a good book. So I know she's thinking about writing a book, and I know some of you are thinking about writing books, movies. I'm a writer. Hire me. I'd love to write your story. All right? We're going to have some good writing fun, and we're going to have some good viewing to see everybody's stories, huh? Especially the feelings that we talked about here, the transitions and transformations that have occurred. Getting those up on the screen is going to be very emotional and very, very fascinating. All right, so now we're ready. Attorney Anna Toledo, are you here, present, and ready?
I'm here. Go to
all right. Good evening. Welcome to the J.A.M.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I wanted to do this a little different. I wanted to I know that you're swamped still, that you just went through a very, very trying and important time, and you're still swamped because, I mean, your work is not finished. Does it ever? But I want to talk a little bit about you and go back a little bit so that we can take a closer look at Anna Toledo, the girl, right? So when you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I don't think I wanted to be anything but an attorney. I grew up with a father that, excuse for those that have heard it, I'm sorry, but there's a lot that haven't heard it. My dad, he couldn't walk. He walked with crutches, and he would go to court, and he wouldn't let anybody help him. Maybe he would let me, but he wouldn't let other people help him carry his little briefcase. And he was just one of those examples that it was such a tough act to follow. And I just would watch him cross-examining people, and he was just so brilliant and so crafty in doing cross-examination and everything that I wanted to be nothing but like my father. So I never considered anything else but being an attorney.
Wow, that's absolutely beautiful. Okay, that's beautiful. And, he didn't know, but maybe just by having you carry his briefcase or helping him, that was, like a transference. That's just absolutely beautiful. So, and that is that why you decided to be one from admiring him?
Well, my father, he always had a passion to help the underdog, and he, like, for example, as I said, he would be walking in crutches. I remember once we were in New York City. He came for my graduation, and there was a homeless man in a corner, and he's like, "Here, go take him some money." And if there was anybody in the world that had an excuse to be, a homeless person, it's not an excuse, but to have all the circumstances to be disenfranchised was him. Yet he came from a very poor town. He was so poor he would read the same comic book, over and over until he memorized it because his family didn't have money to buy another comic book for him. And then so that developed his brain. He just had a privilege. My mom used to say that the only reason he was physically disabled is because God had to control him in some way. Otherwise, he would have been too much. He would have owned the world. And so he always put in my heart that thing of, working for the underdog, for the disenfranchised. And that's exactly what got me in trouble, filing a class action lawsuit for a disenfranchised community in Barceloneta against 11 pharmaceutical companies. Of course, I didn't know that such an atrocious thing as a targeting program existed, but this was in 96 when it hadn't become what it is right now. It was much undercover than it is right now. So, yeah, it just carrying his, and back then, remember, American with Disabilities Act didn't exist. So I would walk with my father up 30, sets of stairs, not 30 flights, 30 steps up a flight of really long stairs. And I would, and I would see his a tenacity and resilience, and he would never, ever, ever give up. And that's what I think, it forces you to say, well, I have no excuse. If he did it, I have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, because you have your mobility. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. And not giving up is a part of what you're doing. How does it feel to have your case, or this case, now documented or docketed in the Supreme Court? How does that feel for you? And tell us about the experience.
Well, it takes a village. I really never aspired to go to the Supreme Court. And I was leading, a normal life. I really never aspired to that. But it just feels so wonderful because, many people see it as something that it's an easy thing to do, and it is extremely hard. For one thing, I needed to get 2 courageous people that sponsored me to the Supreme Court. That's not easy feat, okay? Not many people are willing to sponsor you because they are afraid of getting retaliated against. So that's one thing. The other thing is the stress that, the requirements. This is a very technical, not just on what you have to write, but technical. It requires a lot of expertise that I didn't have. But fortunately, we worked with a print shop, and it was outrageously expensive. It's worth it because their work is very valuable. We have to, for example, you have to send 40 little booklets to the Supreme Court with your brief and your appendix, and then you have to send it to the other parties, and then he sends me to some copies to me too. So it's physically a very expensive and demanding thing, and just being able to. But I trust that all along God has been telling me, "Don't worry, you've got this. Don't worry, you've got this." It's one of the things that I was really worried about is finding a second attorney that would sponsor me. And it was all last minute because, I couldn't find anybody. I don't know people in here in the mainland. I knew people back in Puerto Rico that were admitted, but I'm sure that even if I asked any of them, they would have said no. Not because they didn't like me, but because of the program there is really, really bad, and they would get retaliated against. So, what I did was I saw every little accomplishment as a huge win, a huge battle. First getting the sponsors, then getting admitted to the court the day before the brief was due, then getting the electronic credentials, then getting, everything done in time without, and remember, sometimes I would go to the computer and the icon of the document was there, but its contents have been erased again. So, it's this thing of having to save things in 10 different USBs to make sure they don't disappear. So that's not, normal conditions. But how does it feel? I'm sorry I did this whole thing because people need to understand we are working so hard for freedom, and not a single case like this has ever been to the Supreme Court. And we really need to pray for protection of these judges so that they can understand and see the national importance of granting these petitions. The last, what other thing that you said, the last little battle was that it got docketed. That means that just the filing, they don't really accept it. They need to receive the physical document, and then they assign a case number to it, which is 24-91. You can look it up. It's already being docketed. So now the government has until the 28th of August to reply to the petition for certiorari, which I have to explain to everybody. It's not like an appeal as of right. It's a discretionary writ, and the Supreme Court determines if to issue it or not. So then that, when the Supreme Court issues it, that'll be another little battle. Then there will be the briefing. Then there will be the oral argument. And all along the way, we really need the prayer warriors because, as I have said many times, this is a battle, the spiritual battle, and God is on our side, but we need to call on Him for help. So sorry that was such a long answer, Goji, but I felt
that was absolutely beautiful, and every word was warranted and appreciated. Thank you very much. So it explains how each step is. Each step is impactful. I know when I write something, and the whole technical piece is like mind-boggling. Like when they say this margin, that margin, what the font size, how much space in between. I mean, the technicalities are so stringent. And, you could miss something by just not having the proper format. So everything is important. And then you have to focus on the content, and then you have to get it printed and into the booklets. And as has often been said, there's one of you. When the government does this, they have a host of people. Oh, send it down to somebody. She's printing.
Oh, yeah.
Doing that, or that was. Yeah, they have a whole.
They have experts. Yeah, they have an expert print shop dedicated exclusively to this. Just like the people we hired to do it. They are experts in the. You have to. This is like being a neurosurgeon. You have to be you cannot pull it off by yourself. You have to be an expert in doing little booklets for the Supreme Court, and these people are probably, one of the best companies. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that's a beautiful thing that, number one, we got one of the best companies and that somebody stood up, because I know just in finding you, it took 5 years. So, I mean, it's just a beautiful thing that we found not one but two people that was mandatory so that we could get into the Supreme Court. So that's beautiful. Very, very pleased. Now, so you mentioned the next step. Now, the government has until August 28th to respond, and then a decision is made, or then you get to respond,
no.
And then a decision is made.
Then the court, I guess they take a vote, and they decide if they issue the petition. As you know, one of our main arguments is the timetable. This case was decided 11 days before FBI versus Ficre, where the Supreme Court upheld the Ninth Circuit decision that the plaintiff, Mr. Ficre, had a due process right to question why he had been placed on the no-fly list without reasonable suspicion. That is huge, because it's not just handling codes 3 and 4. This man was placed, and he's alleging he was placed on handling code 1, which is a no-fly, without reasonable suspicion. And it's true, while it is true that the controversy in the Supreme Court was that the case had become moot because the FBI said that regarding, pursuant to the information they had as of that moment, they were not going to put him back on the no-fly list. The Ninth Circuit, which was the decision that was being reviewed, said, that's not enough. That's not even enough. He can continue. This is in the district court in Oregon. He can continue his case, demanding, questioning why he was placed on the no-fly list without reasonable suspicion. And the Supreme Court confirmed that. So that's what we're saying is, just as you confirmed, Mr. Ficre's right to go and question why he was put on this list without reasonable suspicion. We are doing the same for these people in these other categories 3 and 4. And obviously, we had to include a copy of the lawsuit, which was so long. And the reason for that was because anybody reading what the district court wrote or the Fifth Circuit wrote would actually think, well, this lawsuit had no merit. So we had to, and that's why, it was so considerably expensive to do the little booklet, because we had to include the text of the lawsuit, because we wanted the Supreme Court judges to see that it was not fantastical and that it was very accurate, very factual, and it was not, it was not frivolous or fantastical, as both the district court and the Court of Appeals concluded.
Right. Thank you for that. Yeah. So we're excited, and I agree. Prayer warriors, if you're listening, I know I have 2 listening on the line. We'll talk about that this Sunday. We will begin praying for these judges, praying for the decisions that are coming up. Again, the other side gets to respond by August 28th, and then the judges make a decision. So let's start now. Let's start believing now and praying and having this thing manifest. Very important.
Okay. They let me clarify. They make a decision to hear the case. Then, as I see it, by January we would have oral arguments. But remember that there are elections in the middle. And I think that everything is going to change substantially. So who knows who's going to be arguing when we get oral arguments. We're going to have to, I want to declare it. When we get our oral argument, we won't we don't know if the Department of Justice will have the same attitude that they have had so far, calling our claims fantastical and everything else they say, because I think there will be, a different. I don't think Merrick Garland will be there anymore. It is what not my. I'm not talking politics here. I'm just talking what the polls are saying. So that may substantially change what happens in the future. For now, we just have to pray that God covers these judges and prevent them from being, attacked in any way by these weapons, because I have no doubt that the criminals are trying to do that.
Yeah, I absolutely. So that is the prayer, and that everything is favorable, and that everything is handled appropriately. I mean, it's just that's the prayer. It's a shame that we have to think about politics. You think that right is right, wrong is wrong, so no matter what happens, the case should stand on its own merit. But we do know that politics are involved, unfortunately, with the justice system, and that things can, who is in place and who is where and what's going on in the world can impact the case. And yes, the election happening in November can also slow things down or speed them up. So we're going to look at it for the best.
The good thing, Gogi, let me tell you just one little thing here. The good thing is that the FICRA case, which we're basing our right, one of the cases, that was decided 9-0. All the judges from the right and from the left, all the judges agreed that Mr. FICRA should have a right to challenge his placement on the no-fly list without reasonable suspicion. So I don't think this is any longer a politics issue, because I think the Supreme Court knows about the FBI's abuse for so long. FICRA, remember, is the first watch list case that made it to the Supreme Court. Now we're going to talk in a little while. We're going to talk in a little while about the second one that's probably going to get there soon. I mean, the third one, because ours is the second one.
Yeah.
Well, ours is not about the watch list, really, but there's going to be a third one going. And so it's the first time, and I think that the judges in the Supreme Court know that there's just something really rotten going on in there.
And it's a bipartisan issue. I mean, it's bipartisan, so it doesn't matter what party you're with and all that. So 9-0 is a beautiful thing, and prayerfully, this lawsuit will receive the same treatment and the same vote. That will be absolutely wonderful. You also filed, there's some lawsuits pending, FOIA lawsuits. How many? Is it 2 or 3?
3. We have 3.
3.
We have one. Yeah, we have one. The first one, it's Target Justice versus FBI. And that one, we're asking for the names, the records that have been removed from handling codes 3 and 4 by reason of death, that the person passed away. And they're just obstructing the production of the documents. And they have been ordered by August 13th. They must have produced whatever they're going to produce, or, a list, what is called a VONG index, which is an index of if they're not going to produce some of the records withheld. That's one of the FOIA cases. The second FOIA case is one against the Office of the Attorney General, asking for the waivers of the reasonable suspicion. As we all know, targeted individuals are placed in handling codes 3 and 4 of the terrorist screening database, and in order to place people on these lists, you have to have reasonable suspicion that they are involved in criminal activity, specifically with terrorism. But there is a regulation that creates all sorts of lists everywhere. They give money. The United States Department of Justice gives money to states, to sheriff's departments to create lists. And they have all sorts of, I don't know who of you remember that in Washington State, A man in his 30s died of a heart attack because his 9-year-old son called 911, and they refused to come because he was on a list that supposedly of people that are supposedly hostile to law enforcement. Well, it turns out I thought it was a TSDB, but no. Turns out that there's a regulation that allows different, states and law enforcement to create their own list, and they get federal funding for that. So we're creating really a police state, and it's happening in everybody's face, and nobody knows about it. And in that regulation, it says that the Attorney General can waive any of the requirements of this list-making thing, and one of the requirements is reasonable suspicion. And we know that when it comes to handling Code 3 and 4, they are put there without reasonable suspicion. So we are asking for that waiver because it has to be in a document. And we asked it on a FOIA, and of course they didn't produce it. That was a lawsuit that when I tried to file, there were airplanes flying all over on top of my place and interfering with the filing. And when I filed it, it even put something like, it was really weird, like United States versus Targeted Justice, some weird thing. Like they were, the planes were hacking my computer. They were just doing things hacking. Anyway, so that's one. Second one is about the audit reports of the terrorist screening database, because the last one we have is from 2009, and the one in 2008, the Office of the Inspector General, that's against whom the lawsuit is, concluded that the FBI was violating its own regulation when placing people on the terrorist screening database. So that's the other one that is pending. So it's 3 FOIA lawsuits, and we're going to continue doing that. We're continuing to file, and it's the cat is out of the bag. So it's just a matter of time. We just hope that. The people behind this stop, don't interfere with the judicial system. That's, whether in any way. Just like, for example, they interfered with my finding of the documents. But I was able to fix it. But it was like the airplanes were going crazy. So yeah, that it's a 3 in total, Gogi.
Mhm. Yes. Okay. Beautiful. And it's interesting. These will be helpful to us all. Victories of these 3 FOIA lawsuits will be helpful to all TI. So this is really great.
Not just those 3, because the Supreme Court. What we're asking the Supreme Court is for the right of these 18 plaintiffs that have injury in fact to prove not only that they shouldn't be on the list, but that this list is illegal. The ultimate goal is to declare it illegal. And, as everybody, in order for you to go to court, you have to have what is called standing and injury in fact. And so that is basically what we are asking is allow us back to go to court, allow my plaintiffs to go back to court and prove how illegal this is, and for that it should be declared illegal for everybody. The handling Code 3 and 4 should be eliminated, period. That's what we're pursuing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. And so I was very surprised to hear, and we're going to discuss it in depth next week, but I would certainly want your professional legal expertise on the Kovac versus Ray. So I've shared with the Jamsters often. I was waiting for this Kovac versus Ray case to come forth because it's based on a technicality, which to me seems open and shut. I'm a layman, and it just seems that the case is stating that you can't create a TSDB on an executive order by the president. Congress has to vote on that. And it just seemed plain and simple. It seemed black and white. And so I was like, oh, they got him. But they did not vote in favor the Fifth Circuit did not vote in favor of Colfax. They voted in favor of Ray. So what are your what's your professional opinion about this, and what do you think will be the outcome?
Well, I think that the great part is that it's going to make care go to the Supreme Court, because number one, they barely mentioned the TS, and they don't even say TSDB. They say the TSDS, data set. Why? They only talk about the watch list, and I think the decision is I think that the Colvac will have a really good chance going to Supreme Court because what they're saying is the district court first, most important is that they confirmed that the district court said that being on the watch list affects many aspects of a person's life, and that's when the major question doctrine gets triggered, that because of separation of powers, it requires that Congress enact whatever provision affects a person's life substantially. So the circuit court affirmed. They didn't say the district court was wrong in holding that it affected many aspects of a person's life. So that's one good thing. But the second thing is that they said that I don't think it's correct, and that's why I believe they're obviously going to go to the Supreme Court, is that they say, oh, well, because the Congress references the watch list in many other statutes, it's sort of like they're ratified its existence. But that's not what the major questions rule says. It says it has to be an express act of Congress. And I think that after the Raimondo case, the Loper Bright Industries versus Raimondo, that they brought down the Chevron rule, I think that will buttress Kovac's opportunities to petition for certiorari. And it'll be really interesting. He has 90 days to do that. This case was decided, get a load of this, it was decided on the day before our deadline to file in the Supreme Court. I don't think it's a coincidence. I do not think it's a coincidence, because this case was argued in March. And so it should have been decided before. So I think that it's all the time of God. This is really Kairos, the time of God, and it's all going to be for a good reason that this decision came out like this.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting, the timing, because, I mean, I've been waiting for the response, and then it comes at just that time. I totally agree with you. So we're going to look further into that. It's not very long. I think, is it 9 pages?
15 pages. 15 pages.
How many?
Yeah.
15 pages. So we're going to look into that next week. Mm-hmm. Very excited about that. And I wanted you to read something. I know in your statement, we viewed or listened to Trey Dowdy here on the J.A.M, and I just love that video, love his statement, and I know you cited it in your lawsuit. So if you can, I mean, I don't know if you have it available, can you read that statement?
Yeah,
I would love to end with that.
Give me a second.
Open up. Okay.
Yes, that's my favorite. I have to say, I not only put it at the end of this document, but I also had included it in the appeal, because I really thought that it was very important. It really was.
Yeah.
It is my favorite because, let me open it. Because you listen to it, particularly his I don't have accents, right? But the way that he enunciated the was, for me, revealing. Okay, particularly the last. I have it here, so let me read it for you. Okay, read the whole thing.
his statement? Yes.
Yeah, the Trey Gowdy statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started saying, let me ask you this. What process is afforded a U.S. citizen, not someone who's overstayed a visa, not someone who's crossed a border without permission, but in the American system, what process is currently afforded an American citizen before they go on that list? And when I say process, I'm actually using half of the term due process, which is a phrase we find in the Constitution, that you cannot deprive people of certain things without due process. My question is, can you name another constitutional right that we have that is chilled until you find out it's chilled, and then you have to petition the government to get it back? My question, process is afforded a United States citizen, and that person's constitutional right is infringed. My question is, how about the First Amendment? How about we not let them set up a website or a Google account? How about we not let them join the church until they can petition the government to get off the list? How about not get a lawyer? How about the Sixth Amendment? How about you can't get a lawyer until you petition the government to get off the list? Or my favorite, how about the Eighth Amendment? We're going to subject you to cruel and unusual punishment until you petition the government to get off the list. Is there another constitutional right that we treat the same way for American citizens that we do the Second Amendment? Can you think of one? Can you think of one? I loved it because when he asked that last one, how about the Eighth Amendment? We're going to subject you to cruel and unusual punishment until you petition the government to get off the list. It is very clear to me that he knows about the program and that he knows that the people on the TSCB are tortured.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, I just love the whole video. I love the whole, what he said and how he said it. It was just absolutely beautiful, flawless. So, and that you included it in the amendment, and here it's just a beautiful thing because it brings the point home. So we're going to look forward to favorable things, and those of you who know how to pray, and we're going to open up for questions and answers. But first, I wanted to we have a big rally coming up in Colorado. So I wanted you to share a little bit about that, and so that everybody can ask questions if they want to ask questions about any of the lawsuits. The lawsuit that has just been filed with the Supreme Court in SCOTUS, and that is docket 24-91, or any of the FOIA lawsuits, which there are 2 versus the FBI, 1 versus the Office of the Attorney General. And if you would like have any questions about Colorado from August 28th to August 30th, then you can ask your questions about that as well. So first, we're going to have Attorney Anna talk a little bit about the rally coming up. We have another commercial break, and then we'll be ready for Q&A. All right, go ahead, Attorney.
Yes, we're really excited. We are planning very meticulously. We're trying to make this event the historic event it can be. As I have said before, until the American public realizes that there are hundreds of thousands of targeted individuals, we will not get justice. It'll be harder. Is
it my phone? Oh. Can you hear her, Tranquility? I can't.
No, I can't hear her. I don't think she's talking right now.
I think she is. Attorney Anna? We can't hear you. Isn't that interesting? We heard the whole interview. I think he may have dropped too. Okay, so we're going to give her a minute to deal with the technical difficulties. And then I see people are in the queue already. We're going to take your questions. I want to make a few statements. Number one, we're not going to take any anonymous questions. Number two, you will not be able to come back into the queue because we're always pushed for time. And
I'm back. GoGi.
Okay, you're back.
Sorry about that. See, that is evidence for all of you have been witnesses. The criminals caught me off. This is how threatened they are by a huge group of people showing up and demanding freedom. They're so stupid as to cut me off in the phone. I mean, really. And so that is why it's so important that all of you that can make it, please make the sacrifice, because the power is in the numbers. We cannot be ignored when there's a huge number of people. We are planning really good activities, not just going to Schriever and Peterson and another place. There's a contingency that is going to visit the legislators. I urge you to look today. There was a confirmation, it's all over the place, of what Dr. Len Baer did in his microscopy, that they are using called the University of Colorado found graphene in the dental anesthetics. We've been talking about it. There's going to be a group of people, all of you from Colorado listening in, join Dr. Lambert to go talk to these legislators about Havana syndrome and about how to improve their medical, of course they're blocking me, the neural rights bill, and also to prohibit this kind of anesthetics. If we start in Colorado, it can spread all over the place. So please make an effort if you can. This is as important as I am telling you it is. They will not be able to ignore us if we have a huge number of people there. And I'll answer any questions. I want you to know that we are not giving the full details of everything that we're going to do because we don't want to alert the criminals. Okay? There's some really good activities we're going to do, but we're going to tell you upon registration. And you might think, oh, well, they're reading our minds. It doesn't matter. It's about logistics. We don't want to give them time to obstruct any of the activities we're going to do. So, yeah, GoGi, I think that's pretty much summarizing it.
All right. Thank you. And so we're going to have our last commercial break, and then we're going to, I see people are in queue, and then we're going to take your Q&A. Again, please do not ask a question that is only relevant to yourself. Make sure that it's something for everybody. I would hate to mute you, but for the sake of time, I would. Okay? So, and again, no anonymous, only one time in the queue. All right, so let's go commercial, and then we'll start with our Q&A.
Attention targeted individuals. Don't miss the largest TI awareness event ever organized, the Targeted Action 2024 rally in Colorado Springs, hosted by Targeted Justice. This incredible event starts on Wednesday, August 28th, and spans 2 days with an optional third day. On day 1, we have the Brotherly Love TI Meetup. The theme is Plan for Peace, a chance to connect, share, and envision a peaceful future together. Then on TI World Day, August 29th, the action begins. First, we'll distribute awareness flyers at key locations during the Targeted Action 2024 Morning Awareness event, followed by a powerful rally. In the afternoon, we'll unwind and strengthen our bonds at the Surviving and Thriving TI Cookout. Registration is just $25, a small price to pay to be part of this historic event. Show your support by purchasing exclusive Targeted Action 2024 merchandise. For more details and to sign up, visit the Targeted Action 2024 tab at targetedjustice.com or the TI Rallies section at tievents.org. We'll see you in Colorado for Targeted Action 2024.
All right. Let's go. Let's go to the first caller, please. Go ahead, please. first caller.
Okay, yeah, I really don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank Anna Toledo for all the hard work that she's doing, putting everything together.
That's so special.
Thank you so much.
What's your name, ma'am?
Eileen.
Eileen, thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can go on to the next call. I just wanted to thank Anna Toledo for all that.
Thank you, Eileen. Means a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, next caller, please. Thank you, Eileen. And happy birthday, Helen. All right, go
hi,
ahead.
Anna Toledo. Hi, GoGi's.
Hi, how are you?
It's Autumn.
Hi, Autumn. Welcome to the J.A.M.
How are you? Hello,
I'm
guys.
okay.
I'm looking so forward to being in Colorado with you guys. You have no idea. I'm so excited that you guys are letting me be a team leader and leading a protest. I am excited.
Awesome. We're excited to have you. Can't wait to meet you, Autumn.
I can't wait to be there. I know. I can't wait to actually hug your faces.
Please make sure. Look, please make sure to register, and then I'm sending the Cornerstone payment link, because here's the thing. We need a head count. We have a venue that has, a determined number of people that can sitting and then standing. And aside from that, we are trying to get the buses to go to the venues for the protest, and the banners. It's not the same if we have 50 people or we have 100 people. We need to know how many banners we're going to have. So for that, that's the reason why we need, we're going to try to minimize. And also for all of those of you that are going, number one, if you have a two-way radio, bring it with you, because we're going to have a channel connecting. If you have a body cam, bring it with you. And Tori put out there today, we're going to need people that want to do live stream from the different events. We're going to, give you the streaming link so that you can stream, because for all of those TIs that can't make it, we want them to be there in spiritual presence and to be watching everything that's going on. So we're going to need people everywhere, in the different venues doing live streaming. Yes. So please volunteer with Tori. He's in charge of coordinating that. And anybody, he's the person in charge. But if you have any questions, you can write to tjustice2@proton.me or Targeted Action 2024 @proton.me. Nice to hear from you, Autumn.
You know what? I have had so many of my electronics hacked into and blocked. Thank God I've been able to keep in touch with GoGi. But I've been on the road. I'm going back to California, then I'm going to Texas to meet up with two friends that are going to Colorado with me. So it's been crazy, because they have locked me out of my accounts. They completely blocked me on LinkedIn, and I have been on podcasts with Power Girl Productions, who also would love to have a live stream with their podcast of the Targeted Action as well. I'll talk to you guys about that in private.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, that'll be nice. But they have worldwide coverage too. So
that's
beautiful.
Awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah, and I've been on their podcast about 3 times lately, and her name is Christina Goers, and I will put you in touch with her too, and we can work that out, because I have some of the best connections with podcasting that I've done lately that have been fighting for me to get back on LinkedIn. It's kind of funny.
That's awesome. Let's see. Talk to Tori. Because Tori and Dr. Bear and J.A.M, they're working the media aspect of it.
Yeah.
So please reach out to them if you need their information. Contact me. But Tori's in TI Street, so you can contact him.
Great.
And
awesome.
I think it's going to be really, really awesome. Yeah.
I do too. I can't wait to meet you guys in person and hug you. I love all you. I really do.
Looking forward to it. And listen, Autumn, send me a clip of from Power Girl, just a clip of some of the things that you say.
I will.
So
I just got a new phone. So I will get that done to you. No problem, GoGi. Anna, I look forward to meeting you too. God bless you guys.
Same here. God bless you. Stay safe.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
All right, bye. Next caller, please.
Hi, Anna. This is Liliana. I have two very important issues that are going on right now, and I wanted your comments about that. One is the email we received this evening from Dr. Bear about the General Accounting Office reporting officially as an agency of government that 29% targeted employees of the Department of Defense and numerous children. Now, these numerous children that was announced tonight by Dr. Bear in the report from the GAO, it is something that the government cannot sweep under the rug. These are children attacked with the Havana syndrome on American soil. So that's one comment that I want from you. And the other issue is that last week it was reported by investigative journalist Whitney Webb that program after the total information awareness attempt from the government was shut down by Congress because it would have been abusive against Americans. Businessman Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, decided to pick it up after it was shut down by Congress and do it from the private sector. And he had a huge organization listing people and profiling them and selling the lists to law enforcement. And she says that by 2008, there were 3 million Americans that were blacklisted by Peter Thiel's company called Palantir and sending these lists to government, to law enforcement. And she says that by now, 2024, there are many millions of Americans that have been listed and profiled by Palantir, and these lists handed or sold to law enforcement.
Okay,
I haven't read that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Anna?
I have not read that, but I haven't read that, and I saw only in passing Dr. Bear's article. But I did see that they are. This can no longer be swept under the rug because they have been attacking their own. Just this week, a 50-year-old CIA agent died of Havana syndrome, and so now it's just exploding in their face. And I think it's all pointing to the one direction, that we're gonna shut them down. You know, I think this is all coming out, and it's all gonna work towards us. But I'm sorry, I cannot speak of something I haven't read. So I will have to look into that.
Yeah, I can forward you the email. I'll forward it to you.
Okay. We are going to discuss it further on the J.A.M. next week, and tomorrow is going to be a hearing about Havana syndrome. Please tune into it, and I'm sure they're going to discuss what Dr. Bear had in his article. In reference to the children and other people that on American soil, they found that they were impacted and they have Havana syndrome, and some of them were not government employees, and some of them were right here on U.S. soil. So they're going to have to deal with the tough issues, and they have a hearing date tomorrow. So let's look forward to that, and then we can discuss it again next week. But very good articles. Thank you for bringing them up. And thank you for being on the J.A.M.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next caller, please. Mm-hmm. Next caller. Tranquility, do you know who the next caller is? Or else we'll move on.
Yes. Good evening, Dr. Black, GoGi, and Anna Toledo. I'm Diane from Buffalo, New York. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, Diane. Hi.
Oh, good. Hi. Okay. I had a question. First of all, I want to thank you for all the information you gave tonight, but I wanted to ask the question, like, I don't know what it's like a heat. It's not like a microwave, but it's like a heat, like a gas that's burning my hands, and it just stays on me all day long. Have any of you guys have any idea of what that is? It's like a gas. I can see my hands, like, burn. Is it a gas? Or is
it's like a gas, you said? Okay. All right, so
like
if anybody has an answer, I'm not familiar with it, Diane, but if you put the question out there, if anyone has an answer, they can get in queue and answer for you. So please keep listening, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your question. All right, next caller, please. Woo, guys, we cleared the line. So thank you for joining the J.A.M. Thank you for being here. Let's see the timing. I think we did record timing tonight. Well, it's still kind of late, but we did pretty good. So when we open up this time, we're going to share some love to Attorney Anna, and I would also like to say a special happy birthday again to Helen for being here from Australia. She's been a J.A.M-ster from the beginning. We hear her voice, her, Tanya, Carol, all of our brothers and sisters over there. And but to be here on your birthday, that's special. That means something to us. And a special happy birthday to Ma Beverly, who turned 85. Michelle talked about that at the very beginning, and she's right that some people don't make it that far. And she is one that is aware of her problem. My mom died around, I think she was 88, and she knew something was up, but she never came to grips with it. Like, she didn't know exactly what it is. It would be hard in her mind to figure out this whole program, right? So here we are. So we're grateful to everyone being here. Attorney Anna, thank you so much for explaining each of the lawsuits so well, so eloquently, and so thoroughly, and we understand what needs to be done in terms of prayer. We understand what we're hoping for all 4 of the cases, and we're looking forward to victory and favorable decisions. Is there anything else that you want to say before we open up to say goodnight? And then we're going to have announcements after this, and then we'll open up.
No, I want to thank everybody, and particularly those that have always kept me in the. It has come, it has had an effect, and also to please try to make it to Colorado if you can, because it's very important for all of us. This is a movement for freedom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for everything. All right, so let's get with the announcements, and then we'll start closing out.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the week in TI events. We've got an exciting lineup of events happening in the TI community this week and beyond, so sit back and enjoy. Kicking off our announcements, tomorrow evening, Refuge from the Storm Church will host a community-wide Prayer for Justice call and memorial service for Dr. Robert Duncan at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. Everyone is invited to join and participate. On Friday, don't miss the I Shall Bloom show at 1 p.m. Eastern. Jennifer and Jessica will join host Sandra Williams to provide a 1-month update on how things are going since Jennifer's big move. It's sure to be an inspiring episode. As we move towards August, mark your calendars for the Havana Syndrome Task Force Rally and Conference during the 2024 Democratic National Convention in Chicago, hosted by Ann Baker from August 19th through 22nd. Visit tievents.org for details and registration. In just 28 days, the Targeted Action 2024 rally hosted by Targeted Justice will kick off in Colorado Springs from August 28th through 30th. With over 200 attendees already signed up, this will be the largest TI awareness event ever. Key speakers include Sarah Westall, Dr. Lynn Baer, Attorney Anna Toledo, Richard Lighthouse, Dr. Sally Priester, GoGi Justice, Craig LaForest, and other esteemed TI community members. For event details, registration, and hotel accommodations, visit the Targeted Action 2024 tab at targetedjustice.com or tievents.org. Also, don't forget to check out the Rideshare board on tievents.org to coordinate your travel. If you've registered but have not yet paid, look out for an email with a link to complete your payment. Curious if you're a targeted individual? GoGi's book, GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual, is available on Amazon and the Targeted Justice Etsy shop. It's an excellent resource to help you understand and explain our experiences. Stay up to date with Targeted Justice by following them on Rumble. Simply search for Real Targeted Justice and hit follow for exclusive content on legal discussions, personal interviews, and community updates. Keep up with GoGi Justice by following her on TikTok for the latest updates. Also subscribe to her YouTube channel, GoGi's After Dinner Jam, where you can catch replays of all her shows and stay informed about important events and topics. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and a special thanks to GoGi Justice for allowing me to share these announcements. Remember, you can find all these details and more at tievents.org. Sign up for email updates to ensure you never miss a beat. Until next time, this is Tranquility signing off and sending you all waves of positivity. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
All right. Thank you for joining the jam, everybody. We're going to open up for good tidings, and we hope to see you next week. Next week is First Fruits Tuesday, so I will have a message, a gospel message for you, and we'll have another jam-packed night, so don't forget to make sure you join the jam, okay? So glad you decided to be here tonight. Everybody be safe, preserve yourself and protect yourself, and pray for us all. All right, let's open up. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Great program. Have you all a great night.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Good night, everybody. Great call.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for joining the jam. Happy birthday, Helen. Thanks for joining the jam. Happy birthday, Beverly. All right. Guys, love you all so much. So glad you all made it here. Y'all hang in there. We're almost there. Let's do this.
Good night. Love you, TI community.
That's it.
Everybody.
Good night, everybody. Welcome to the jam. You all stay close. Let's stay united. All right.